Welcome everyone, I'm Dale, and this is Cinema Historia. A career-pursuing country boy, a hopeful girlfriend, and a golden opportunity. This week we're going back to 1946 for a comedy drama film called Little Giant, starring Bud Abbott, Lou Costello, Jacqueline DeWitt, and Elena Vertigo. And this is directed by William A. Sider. So where does our story begin this week? Well, our story begins at a country store and gas stop in Cucamonga, California. Naive country boy Benny Miller, played by Lou Costello, has been taking correspondence phonograph lessons in salesmanship. These lessons come under the direction of Professor Watkins and the record correspondence school by mail. His girlfriend Martha, played by Elena Vertigo, who delivers the U.S. mail, brings Benny his last lesson and diploma. Now with a degree in BS, or Bachelor of Salesmanship, Benny decides to go to Los Angeles to pursue a career. He arranges a meeting with his uncle Clarence, a bookkeeper at the Hercules vacuum cleaner company. Company policy does not permit spouses and relatives to work together, so Uncle Clarence writes a letter of introduction to try to fool the manager. Seeing sales manager Eddie Morrison, played by Bud Abbott, Benny is mistaken as the new Hercules fashion model, is asked to remove his clothing to show off his muscles. Morrison's secret wife, Hazel Temple, played by Jacqueline DeWitt, discovers the mistake and suggests hiring Benny as a vacuum salesman to avoid a scandal, as Eddie and Hazel have been keeping 2 sets of accounting books. On his first day, having his demonstrator model stolen and costing the company $2,000 in damages, Benny is fired from his salesman post. Uncle Clarence transfers Benny to the company's Stockton branch, which is run by Morrison's cousin, Tom Chandler, also played by Bud Abbott, who tells Benny, "Remember our slogan, it's in the bag." Benny's misfortunes continue, however, including a prank at a local pub where his new co-workers convince him he can read people's minds. However, the prank gives Benny enough self-confidence to sell 9 vacuum cleaners in 1 day, becoming Hercules Salesman of the Year, sending Benny back to LA to receive his award. Shaking hands with branch manager P.S. Van Loon, Benny accidentally alludes to the fact that Morrison has a secret bank account. So, does Eddie and Hazel gang up on Benny to keep their relationship and bank account intact? Does Benny's new self-confidence keep him on top of his game? Or does he head back to Cucamonga and Martha empty-handed? The story was written by American screenwriter and film producer Paul Jericho and American producer, director, and screenwriter Richard Collins, who also wrote for several television programs, including Bonanza and Matlock. 83% of Google users liked this movie, stating, "A truly unique Abbott and Costello film. Little Giant cleans the air, and Little Giant is a little gem." And I totally agree, it's one of their best. And our trivia question this week: did someone play a third role in this film? Did someone play a third role in this film? So, a little more history and the answer to our trivia question coming up next. Now, since our story centers around vacuum cleaners, that's the subject of this week's history. So, a vacuum cleaner is a device that uses suction in order to remove dirt and other substances from floors, upholstery, draperies, and other surfaces. The vacuum cleaner evolved from the carpet sweeper via manual models using bellows. In 1860, a manual cleaner was invented by Daniel Hess of West Union, Iowa, called a carpet sweeper that gathered dust with a rotating brush and had a bellows for generating suction. In 1869, another early model was the Whirlwind, invented in Chicago by Ives W. McGaffey. And in 1876, a similar model was constructed by Melville R. Bissell of Grand Rapids, Michigan, who also manufactured carpet sweepers. The end of the 19th century saw the introduction of powered cleaners, one being in 1898 when John S. Thurman of St. Louis, Missouri submitted a patent for a pneumatic carpet cleaner. Seeing flaws in this design and others, including a demonstration of a new machine at London's Empire Music Hall, British engineer Hubert Cecil Booth formed the British Vacuum Cleaner Company and introduced one of the first powered vacuum cleaners using suction in 1901. This huge beast of a machine, called the Puffing Billy, was seen doing rounds of wealthy Londoners' homes at the start of the 20th century. This horse-drawn 2-ton vacuum cleaner wasn't cheap, but advertised to the neighborhood that you were holding a vacuum tea party. The first portable vacuum cleaning device for domestic market was built in 1905 by Walter Griffiths, a manufacturer in Birmingham, England. In 1906, James B. Kirby developed the domestic cyclone, later known as the Kirby vacuum cleaner. The Cleveland, Ohio factory was built in 1916 and remains open to this day. And the vacuum you see, or partly see beside me, is a Kirby from the 1960s, and it still works great. In 1907, janitor James Murray Spangler of Canton, Ohio invented the first portable electric vacuum cleaner, but due to a lack of funding, sold the patent in 1908 to local leather goods manufacturer William Henry Hoover, founding the company that in 1922 was renamed the Hoover Company. Vacuum cleaners remained a luxury item, but after the Second World War, they became common among middle classes. The last decades of the 20th century saw the more widespread use of technologies that were developed earlier, including cyclonic dirt separation and central vacuum systems. Since then, rechargeable handheld vacuums and robotic vacuums continue to improve the consumer market. And yes, there was a Hercules back in the late 1800s. A manufacturer of manual cleaners, the first 2-person hand pump was a Hercules, which dates back to 1875. Marketed by the father-son team Peck and Peck of Rochester, New York, the Hercules was the first to use a tank canister. Pretty cool. And the answer to our trivia question this week, did someone play a third role in this film? Yes, you already know who played 2. Yes, it was Bud Abbott. Bud Abbott played the parts of Eddie Morrison and Tom Chandler, and a third role as well, Morrison Chandler's grandmother, only seen in a painting. This was Bud and Lou's 17th picture together, decided it was time for something new, decided on playing separate parts. Director William A. Sider, who had worked previously with the Marx Brothers and Laurel and Hardy, was on board with the idea. Rather than center around their classic burlesque routines that they had been perfecting for years, the boys wanted to try straight comedy. Little Giant earned Abbott and Costello critical praise for trying new material. In fact, the Hollywood Reporter exclaimed that Little Giant, thanks to director William A. Sider, starts Abbott and Costello on the path of a brand new career. Pretty cool. I'd like to give out a big thank you to my new subscribers this week. Thanks for jumping on board. I gotta go though. Benny is demonstrating the new reverse flow on the latest model. I'm sure everything's going just fine. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope to see you back next week.
First of all, you turn this little knob. Easy. Now, just a minute. Would you please hold this? It's very important. Thank you. And now you turn on the juice.
Young man, I've had quite enough demonstration for one day. I don't...
Demonstration.